everyone. Welcome to the November edition of the USF Encounter podcast. I'm Rodolfo Flores, still your editor-in-chief, and I'm here interviewing my friend Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay. About her story here in the news section about the SGA budget cuts here at the University of St. Francis. So, Lindsay, to start off, how did you hear about the financial situation that's going on at USF?
I mean, I heard about it through just rumors that trickled down from like professors and faculty, and even the students were talking about it a little bit. So I kind of just picked up on rumors that I've heard about here and there, and so I wrote a story about it.
Yeah. So were any parts of the reporting process surprising, either in what you discovered or how transparent or not transparent that the communication was from the school?
I mean, I wasn't expecting such, I think discretion from them, which, I should have expected, but I did end up using a lot of announcements that they put out in my stories to kind of avoid, having to interrogate people that didn't want to be interrogated, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how I worked around it, and I just wasn't expecting it, but the story turned out better than I thought it was going to, because I honestly didn't think I'd be able to write as much as I did. So that was actually the more surprising part, was the fact that I was able to write as much as I did. So
you outlined in the story that there were several causes that caused the school to be in a $6 million deficit. Some of those included enrollment decline, operational costs, and grant misclassification. From your reporting, which one of these weighs most heavily on the university?
I think because I did a story a couple issues ago about talking with the president, and he kept talking about enrollment decline and all of that stuff and how he's trying to fix it. So I would say enrollment decline, the enrollment decline was a big factor in it. I think there's other things like misjudgment in budgeting to go with it, like, what was it, misclassification?
Yeah,
right, yeah.
They expected more students to enroll than they did.
Yeah, so that I think also had a decent factor in it as well, but I do think that enrollment decline is what is affecting staff layoffs and programs to be taught out in the future.
So in your conversations or the research that you did you get a sense of how students are reacting to the possibility of the program closures on campus?
I've gotten response from my inner circle of people and just how it's affected in my degree. So, I kind of gauged a little bit of that, so did I really answer your question?
Yeah, especially with your degree being one of the ones that is being not shut down, but they're not accepting any more students. So
right.
I assume that, especially with your professors or your students as well, it's had to have been a...
Yeah, I've gotten some notifications from my department about just subtle switches, like advising switching, like professors being taken off tenure, stuff like that I've gotten from my professors that weren't public announcements made to the school population, you know what I'm saying? So stuff like that where it's kind of subtle right now, but it's going to take bigger role in the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it right now is just my inner circle because I'm being affected a little bit, but not to the scale of everyone else yet.
Yeah.
So.
And then lastly, is there anything that you have found out since writing the story that you wish could have been included in the story? So in the past 2 weeks or whatever since writing has been done?
I know they had a meeting a week or so after I wrote the story.
Yeah.
I don't have a good memory of what happened. No, seriously, I don't have a good memory. So,
we were in, so I couldn't tell you myself.
Right now, knowing that my degree is one of them that's gonna get it's on the chopping block basically. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that writing the story. Could you probably have figured that out? Possibly, because enrollment.
Wasn't public knowledge.
It wasn't public knowledge. And a lot of it was speculating that degrees that got low enrollment or had not enough professors to teach them that those would be cut first. Yeah. But that wasn't an announcement that was made. Correct. So now that we kind of have a little bit more information, I guess I could have included that, but it wasn't anything official at that time, and I didn't want to speak on it.
It's a lot of speculation, especially with my department as well as being lower enrollment with the communication. So there was speculation that we might have gotten shut down as well. So it's
Right.
it's understandable, especially at that point. You can't really comment on that stuff. So
Yeah, a lot of it was like rumors and just, again, like you said, speculation.
yes.
So
And we don't want a bad report.
we don't want to report
We
badly.
don't want to have a bad report.
So that's why a lot of the information I put in my story to reach like the school population was based solely off of the information that was provided on the website. So I didn't want to speculate here.
Yeah.
But now that we know a little bit more for sure about what majors or degrees are going and like programs are going to get cut, that I wish we could have.
Yeah.
I wish the timing worked out better. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
feels like we're not like withholding information from people now. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
so
that makes sense. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay, for coming on. We're going to kick it over to Brant Singler, our podcasting executive director. He's going to be interviewing Mars Angelo about their story, Cut, 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 in the commentary section. Stay with us here on the USF Encounter podcast.
Welcome back to the Encounter podcast. Today we are here with Mars and her story about the financial situation and the students' takes on it, and also faculty and staff. Mars, why don't you say hello?
Hi.
So when you first heard about the $6 million deficit, what was your initial reaction?
I wasn't too surprised. I do feel like I learned about like the situation itself at the same time as like other students, maybe just like probably like the earlier stages, like with the first SGA meeting and all that. But I definitely always noticed that something was up with our school, like financially, because I came in here as a freshman in 2021, and the school just seemed to be on a little bit of a decline with some of its resources. And then I wrote a story in March 2024 talking about our financial issues. It wasn't as severe as it was now. That was more of like, oh, national enrollment is down, and just like management. SGA thought that the management wasn't always up to par, really. So I've kind of just seen it coming, so I wasn't too surprised.
I kind of agree with that, because I remember when I came here, there was something about money with our former president, and then also just I noticed there were some things that were happening, like with the cuts, like example the DARA program, and then also the bus not going to the Rialto anymore as well.
Yeah.
I could see and sense that something was going on.
Yeah.
But can you walk us through your research process, and who did you speak to, and why were those perspectives important?
Well, my research process, one, I feel like it's important that you just kind of look at higher ed as a whole, because you do have to recognize the issues that are happening in higher ed. So there's a decline in national enrollment and everything. There's just a lot of money is not really trickling down evenly. And then with our school specifically, it's just talking to people that you know, where it's like, oh, who do you know can point me to a better direction? So it's often a lot of like off the record sources.
Yeah.
And then going into interviews, I went to our president, Ryan Hendrickson, first, because I'm like, okay, well, this will give me the concrete like facts, like it'll give you the correct vocabulary, because you want to be careful with that. A lot of people are very quick to be like, oh, it's lost, or it's like, no, we have to, be a little meticulous about our language here. So I talked to him just for some details, and then I'd just ask around, have conversations with like students, their sentiment and everything. Look at articles that talk about our school, because once the news hit, it's like it wasn't just like here that was being talked about. It was like all over. Like even my CT was just like, "What's happening to St. Francis?" And I'm just like, "How do you know?" And everything. So that's kind of how that looks.
Yeah, because it's not just our school as well. I know another school in our conference, Trinity Christian, also is closing after this year as well.
Oh.
So did you not hear about that?
No.
Yeah, no, they're closing after this year.
No.
They're done. So you also wrote about the 18 layoffs and the 20 non-renewals. What did those conversations with affected faculty and staff sound like?
They were very difficult. Even sending the email, it's always to connect with them or to even start the conversation, like going up to them. I don't go up where it's like, hey, I'm a writer. Can you let me interview you? I approach it really empathetically, because it's just like, oh, I heard you and your department were just deeply affected. Because it's unfortunate. Staff had to leave like that day. Like they couldn't, like they didn't come back. Like they just don't have a job anymore. And faculty, even though they're protected with by their contract, they, like after May, it's like they don't have that security anymore. So I approached it as empathetically as I could, and a lot of them were really, really willing to talk, because it's just like not, it's just not the best circumstance to be in. And just kind of listening to their story, let them do the talking a little bit and tell them about like, oh, how they feel about it. But they're definitely not easy conversations.
Yeah, I can't imagine how those conversations went. But you raised a critical question. Why should students bear the consequences of financial decisions?
Yeah.
What responses did you hear from students?
Well, with a lot of my peers, it was more so where it's like, you're raising our tuition, which happens annually, and we still stay in that like 40,000 ballpark. I know, because we do want to keep being a competitive institution. But it's like, you're raising tuition, you're reducing our programs and all, where it's like, then what benefit? A lot of students have the mentality of like, okay, what benefit do I have from being here if I'm paying more, but will have my department dulled down, or maybe my classes will be canceled, or so-and-so won't be offered, or I'll be like fixed to this certain like schedule and I don't get all the experience that I could possibly be having. Like, yeah, I'll be able to complete my degree, but like to what end? So it's like they do suffer the consequences the most.
If you could speak directly to the university's leadership right now, what would you ask them?
That I think there's a better way to approach our situation than just cutting here, there, and there. I know they're definitely doing their best to look for funds, to look in areas where it won't affect students as much. But I don't know. I think there's a few things that could be done. I don't know, changing how we talk about our programs and like the vocabulary to really get students in, making more pathway programs that connect all of our departments a little better. Reallocation rather than just cutting. I just feel like there's more options out there, and I'm told where it's like they've checked everything, they've tried everything, but that doesn't compute very well, because I'm like, well, we wouldn't be taking this extreme if we have. I feel like there's other ways to go about this. So.
What do you hope readers and now listeners on the podcast take away from your article, though?
To stay involved and be knowledgeable about these things, like really understand the situations. Don't jump to conclusions or very extreme language, because we do want to be careful about how we talk about these things, and we don't want to scare anyone. We don't want to, induce fear. But to also hold your higher ups accountable for the situation and make your opinion as vocal as you can, as respectfully as you can. But to make that opinion vocal, and to take the time to like have these discussions and have these conversations. It's important for students to be as involved as they can and know what's going on, because like I said, it directly affects us. Like if most of our faculty is going to be adjunct long term, that affects us. Maybe not so much for intro and beginning, like short term, but long term, that is like something that a consequence we have to like face. So stay informed, have these discussions, and hold your higher ups accountable. But yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Mars, for coming on the Encounter podcast.
Yes.
And make sure you guys read Mars's story in the final copy of the Encounter. We'll be right back with our next feature, which is going to be we're going to be joining Julie and Vicki Adams about our radio station and Vicki's story. We'll be right back.
Yay.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Julie Zuniga, the commentary editor for The Encounter. I am joined here with Vicki Adams, our program director for WCSF. Do you want to say hello, Vicki?
Hi everyone, hello.
All right, so Vicki is our program director here at WCSF, our radio station for the University of St. Francis. Do you want to run us through a typical day, or if there is a typical day, of what it's like to be a program director?
Sure. Program director wears a lot of hats at a radio station, including ours. But the main job of a program director is just to make sure that the station stays on air. So being committed to scheduling the station at the various times that that's required, cycling through content so that we're constantly staying fresh and current with whatever the latest content is we can provide, keeping promos relevant to whatever's on air, and listening to the station constantly to make sure that it is flowing the way it should. So, our radio station, there's been a lot of hands in it, over the years, obviously, being a college station. So, I'll hear promos where it's something that's not relevant to what follows it, and I'm just constantly catching them every time it happens. I'm like, oh, okay, it stings inside. I'm like, I got to figure out where that is and where in our program it is not working. So that is the main job. But in general, I do a lot of other stuff too. So I do production work as well. I record promos, write copy as well, record promos, edit them, and then put them into our library to be played. So I work with music. I work with everything just to make sure that all the departments are working together and that everything ends up sounding good. Oh, and event planning and promotions as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so I know we mentioned in that story, in the encounter, that you got into radio very early on in your life. You were 13 when you got to go to the Hancock Building. Can you tell me how you got to be in the Hancock Building?
Yeah. I listened to radio constantly when I was a kid, and one of the stations I listened to was The Drive, and at the time they had a program called the Sunday Night Star, which was an opportunity for a listener to be able to go up on air, and you could choose your own songs, and then you'd get the opportunity to then go up to the Hancock Building, which is where they were located at the time, the station, and be able to record the show. And so it was the most insane thing for me to be able to go up with my family. We all went, and we got to meet some of my favorite DJs at the time, including Bob Stroud. He's a local radio legend. And so I got to meet all of these incredible people and then sit down in the studio for the first time in front of a mic and a board and get to talk about this music that I had chosen, which of course my picks now I consider pretty basic, but I was just getting into music.
Yeah.
I was just getting really serious about music. So, so regardless, I was really proud of that, and that was just such a crazy opportunity for me.
Yeah.
And originally put the bug in my ear that I wanted to do something with radio.
Yeah, absolutely. So you went from, of course, you were listening to the radio before, then you got that opportunity to be 13 in the Hancock Building being a DJ, which is so crazy. And then you did your corporate job, and then you came here. So how did you get the chance to come into USF? What made you want to come here specifically?
Yep. Really, it was just a chance circumstance, a chance conversation. I've been collecting records since I was a kid, since around the time that I was on the radio, so about 12, 13, I started collecting records, and I've been going to this one huge record collector show that we have here in Chicagoland, and it was there that I met Anthony Musiala, who is the station manager for a radio station here, WCSF, and I didn't know that at the time. I just knew he was a dealer and he sold records, and we were talking at some point, what do you want to do with your life? And I thought, well, I mentioned casually, I'd always been kind of interested in radio, but I never had any actual tangible experiences with it. I never had any real opportunities to practice at it. It's like, oh, well, I just happen to be the station manager and radio professor at University of St. Francis. Would you like to just be a volunteer DJ? And I thought, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely, sign me up.
Yeah.
So then he brought me to the school, and I had my own show. That weekly show, I would literally just come in here, and I wrote copious amounts of copy because at the time I was just getting used to talking on a microphone, and I would just play my music. And immediately, it was everything I wanted it to be. I just immediately knew I loved it. I've always loved music, and so music radio is where it's at for me. I just love everything about it, and that it immediately just satisfied all of my suspicions that this was something I wanted to do, and ended up coming here as a student and working with Anthony.
Yeah, for sure. And then you became the program director.
Yeah.
So as your time as program director, you have gotten to do a few projects. Is there a favorite project you have?
What my favorite project so far that we've gotten to work on was Hispanic Heritage Month. I really just thought it would be so cool. I've always loved artist bios. Some of my favorite radio stations include artist bios as part of their programming, and to me, context of music is one of the most important things about it. Like you don't just hear the music, you want to hear the stories of the people who are behind it. And so I wanted to do, we worked on this big project for Hispanic Heritage Month, and it was really, really exciting where we got to choose the artist, research the artist, record the promos, and it ended up being honestly a project that ended up becoming an even bigger cool thing for me because it was a great opportunity for me to learn all this stuff about programming that I did not know already. I had thought that I'd be programming these spots to air a lot easier than it ended up being. Actually, the way that the software worked, my knowledge of it versus what I wanted to do I was apparently reaching a little bit higher than I thought I would be, and so. I had to, I spent hours on the phone with our support team for our programmer software. And I, spent all this time trying to figure out how to make this work, and we kept having problems, but I was like, oh gosh, I can't wait to fix it, I'm figuring it out. And it was just really exciting for me to have that opportunity, and then to eventually hear it air exactly the way we wanted it to, which was really, really freaking cool. Yeah. So I really loved that whole project. It was just such a wonderful thing, a great, from the beginning, we had the idea, seeing it through, problems that occurred technically to be able to see it on air the way that I wanted it to. So it was cool.
Yeah, it was so awesome. And then we had another project very recently, which was the rummage sale that we do every year. How was that?
The rummage sale was something else this year. I have been helping with the rummage sale since I was a volunteer here. So this is, I think, my third or fourth rummage sale, but this is the first one that I was actually leading. And so it was kind of all on me this year in many ways, all on me and my team. And so we worked really, really hard to be able to get it, coordinated the way that it usually is. Donations, we're constantly asking the community for donations. So that's the first phase is getting all of the items that we sell as part of the rummage sale, because it is all used media that we sell. So we acquired the used media, and we needed to figure out with the space and figure out when we were going to get access to the space in order to be able to move all of the boxes from our storage unit to the St. Clair campus, which is where it ended up being. And I was so grateful to have all of the help that I did, because if I didn't, I would never have been able to achieve anything. You gave me so much help. I really, really appreciate that. Seriously, I would not have been able to do it without the encouragement of you and a lot of other students. Because, it ended up working out. I was so freaking worried up until the nth hour, but it ended up working out great. We made our mark. We exceeded our mark. And this station really, really relies heavily upon all of the fundraising efforts we do, including the rummage sale. And so I was so grateful that, first one that I was running worked out as well as it did, and we'll be able to continue to exist as a station, hopefully for the foreseeable future.
Absolutely, for sure. All right, thank you so much, Vicki, for joining us on the Encounter podcast. We'll be right back with Braden and Carter talking about their point counterpoint on when you should listen to Christmas music.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Point Counterpoint Christmas edition, where we have two people debating whether you should play Christmas music right after Thanksgiving or if you should wait until after Thanksgiving. We have two people here. We have Braden Smith. Braden, why don't you say hello? And we also have Carter Abraham. Now, Braden is on the side of you should play Christmas music right after Halloween, before Thanksgiving, and Carter is on the side of you should play Christmas music after Thanksgiving. Now, Braden, we should have you start us off here, and here is your question. Should Christmas music officially start on November 1st, or after Thanksgiving or Black Friday? Which timeline better respects all holidays? You have 1 minute to respond.
So I am a big believer in listening to Christmas music right on November 1st. It's time to get in that holiday spirit. We're in the big three of holidays. One of them has already passed. We're going from Halloween into Thanksgiving into Christmas, and I am a strong believer of listening to Christmas music right on November 1st. I don't think listening to Christmas music discredits Thanksgiving at all. I think, if anything, it puts you even more in a holiday spirit. There's nothing like sitting down with the family, decorating for Christmas, and listening to some Christmas music while also getting ready for Thanksgiving, because both holidays are about spending time with your family, and Christmas music just enhances that and makes it better. And I strongly believe that there's nothing wrong with listening to Christmas music during Thanksgiving because it respects all the holidays.
Thank you, Braden, for your response. And now we're going to move over to Carter to respond to Braden's answer. You have unlimited time to respond.
Like, that is a valid point, but I do gotta say, it does not really seem like it would be appropriate to just listen to Christmas music now, because some might think, hey, it's overshadowing one holiday over the other, and, well, again, no disrespect or anything, but I kind of feel like if you want to celebrate something, do it in the month it's supposed to be celebrated in.
Thank you, Carter, for your response. Now, this next question is for you, Carter. Does early Christmas music overshadow Thanksgiving, or does it simply enhance the overall holiday season? You have 1 minute to respond.
In my opinion, well, it would overshadow it because it's basically ignoring one holiday over the other, and I don't feel like that's right. Granted, I know that people still do celebrate Thanksgiving overall, but the hype for that is low, very low.
Thank you, Carter, for your answer. And now we're turning it over to you, Braden, to give a response to Carter's answer. You have unlimited time to respond.
So, just to kind of piggyback off what he said, I don't believe that Christmas overshadows Thanksgiving at all, because I think you can listen to Christmas music while you're at Thanksgiving, you know? Like, I don't think you listening to Christmas music overshadows Thanksgiving and it takes away its meaning. Both holidays are great. They're both amazing, actually. But listening to Christmas music just overall enhances the holiday spirit, and I don't think it overshadows a holiday like you're saying it does. I personally believe listening to that Christmas music just puts you in the holiday spirit, and you don't have to celebrate Christmas just in December. Like, as soon as November hits, it's Christmas time. While being Thanksgiving time, you celebrate both holidays. But I think we can all agree, Christmas is just a better holiday than Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Braden, for your response. Now we're going to turn it over to a audience question. Let's see. Yes, you, sir. You will ask the question. I actually really like your shirt. Your shirt's really nice, actually. Why don't you go ahead and ask your question?
Thank you for liking my shirt, Mr. Moderator. I really do appreciate it. Yours is very nice, too. My name is Joe Madeja, and I have a question for the man on the left. Hold on, let me look at my phone. It's on my phone. So, Mr. Braden, does playing Christmas music early help people enjoy the colder weather and get excited, or does it create holiday fatigue?
So, I want to say, listening to Christmas music early, it's snowing. And what does snow mean? Snow means Christmas. Everybody knows that. It's time for Christmas music. Grab your hot cocoa, get up to that fireplace, start watching Christmas movies if you want. It is Christmas time. It's time to listen to music. There's no reason not to. Most people, like I said earlier, listen to Christmas music in the middle of Thanksgiving, in the middle of November anyway. So why not just start early and just listen while it's cold, while it's nice and chilly out. Listen to that Christmas music, decorate up for both holidays, and get going because it's Christmas time.
Thank you for answering my question. I really do appreciate it. Here you go, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you so much, sir, for your question. And Braden, thank you for your answer. Now, Carter, you have unlimited time to respond to Braden's answer.
Well, I do feel like my friend here makes a good point, but I just want to point out that the colder weather and snow doesn't really define a holiday. What defines the holiday is the love for the tradition and, well, not just the love for the tradition. Another thing that defines a holiday is, well, togetherness and, well, I'm just gonna say, although snow does represent the winter season, it does not represent Christmas. It's the love and togetherness that celebrate Christmas. Heck, it's a thing that represents the love for every holiday. Come on, love for all, y'all.
Thank you, Carter, for your response. Now, Carter, this question is for you. Is Christmas music inherently winter music and therefore appropriate whenever weather turns cold? You have 1 minute to respond.
No, it is practically not always, because Christmas is not the only holiday that happens during the winter season. New Year's also happens during the winter season, and, well, saying that winter music is automatically Christmas music just kind of takes away the love and appreciation from New Year's. And as someone who always enjoys celebrating New Year's, I gotta say, come on, give it some respect, man. Come on.
Thank you, Carter, for your answer. Now, Braden, you have unlimited time to respond to Carter's answer.
I respect all holidays. I do not discriminate against any holidays. I want to make that clear. I love Thanksgiving, I love Christmas, and I love New Year's Eve. I think they're all great holidays. But it's Christmas time, baby. You listen to Christmas music during all these. I listen to Christmas music in January after Christmas. You know, my favorite station I listen to, Spirit of Christmas, on 88.7 WCSF, by the way. I'm listening to the Spirit of Christmas right when it starts and right when it ends. And granted, I know it starts around Thanksgiving, week of, but I listen to it beforehand because it's time to get in the holiday spirit. Winter doesn't define Christmas, but it's just that time of year. The last 2-3 months of the year is Christmas music time. There's no other time to listen to it, and this is something you get once a year, and you gotta enjoy it every single year.
Thank you, Braden, for your response. Now, Braden, this question is for you. Are radio stations and stores responding to consumer demand by playing Christmas music early or shaping it?
Now, while a lot of stores and stuff start their Christmas, commercials, you see like the Grinch on Walmart and everything like that, I don't believe they shape the whole holiday, because they do start early, but it's just about the time of year. Like I said in my last response, you get this once a year and no other time to enjoy it. I'm not listening to Christmas music in the summer. That's just weird. This is the one time a year you get to listen and love Christmas music. Well, no shame if you're doing that. Maybe a little shame, but it's time for Christmas music. It's time to get in the holiday spirit. It's about it getting cold. And like my partner across from me here said, it's about the love, about the tradition, and that's what it's for. You get this once a year, and that's the tradition, to listen to Christmas music.
Thank you, Braden, for your answer. And Carter, you have unlimited time to respond to Braden's answer.
I do agree that certain things do not represent the Christmas spirit, but I kind of feel like the reason why stores and radio stations celebrate the whole Christmas season before Thanksgiving even starts is because, well, from a perspective, people view Christmas as more of a holiday run by the consumerism of it all, and, well, consumerism is what attracts popularity in the stores and the radio stations. Do I agree with the whole ideology of consumerism? To an extent, I do, but I gotta say, well, I kind of feel like that is the reason radio stations and stores celebrate it too early, and, well, it is shaping it in a way, but that's because, well, they know that stores and radio stations know that the love for a holiday does kind of make the consumerist personality in people grow, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Carter. Now, this last question is for you. This is our last question. And this is for you, Carter. Does being excited early for Christmas show optimism or disrespect for Thanksgiving traditions?
In my opinion, I feel like it's a neutral ground on that because, well, yes, it does show optimism, but it also kind of shows disrespect for a tradition because it is skipping over a holiday and, well, although I find optimism to be awesome, I gotta say this, and this is coming from me, I might add, you can't always be optimistic. You always have to just pay attention to one thing instead of paying attention to the other. That's how I feel about it.
Thank you, Carter, for your answer. And Braden, you have unlimited time to respond to Carter's answer.
I just want to say you always need to be optimistic. You know, you got to look for the brighter future, and you also got to, I'm not saying you're disrespecting Thanksgiving at all. Most people listen to Christmas music over Thanksgiving. Let's just be honest, people. This is what people are doing. You're listening to Christmas music over Thanksgiving. And like I said before, there's nothing wrong with starting 3 weeks early. You know, just get in that holiday spirit. It's time to decorate. Most people have their Christmas decorations up for Thanksgiving anyway. So we just need to be honest here. There's nothing wrong with listening to Christmas music right after Halloween, and it doesn't overshadow Thanksgiving. I still love both holidays. I respect both holidays, of course. They're both great. But you just got to add that Christmas spirit to Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is nothing without Christmas.
Thank you, Braden, for your answer. And now we are going to turn it over to final statements now. Now, each of you have 30 seconds to give your final statements. Braden, why don't we start with you?
So overall, there's nothing wrong with listening to Christmas music right after Halloween. It is time to get in that holiday spirit. It's time to start decorating. It's time to enjoy the cold weather. You get this once a year. Enjoy it, love it, be grateful for it, because that could be your last Christmas.
Thank you, Braden. And now let's turn it over to Carter.
I gotta say, I love all holidays within my heart, but you gotta try and, if you want to tie in Christmas with Thanksgiving, try and do it without making it look like you're overshadowing one and showing favoritism towards the other, because all holidays should have a respect by the people, and that's what truly matters.
All right, well, thank you both. You both made solid cases for both sides. And yeah, we'll let the audience decide later on in the vote on when should Christmas music start, before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving. And that's all we have here today for Point Counterpoint. And we're going to turn it over to Brant Singler and his interview with the esports coach, Steve Wettergreen. We'll be right back here after this short break.
Welcome back to the Encounter Podcast. My name is Brant Singler, and I'm here with Steve Wettergreen, the esports coach, director, you would say. Why don't you say hi?
Hi, how you doing?
So esports has grown from 12 students all the way to 36 in the past 3 years. What do you think sparked this rapid growth for esports?
I think it's just the way the gaming community itself has matured over the years. If we look at the high schools around the area, they, over even that short period of time, really have formalized their own development and their own gameplay. They now work underneath a umbrella arm in Illinois called ISHIO, Illinois State High School Esports Association. And so what we're seeing is a generation of students who have competitive play at the high school level, now coming into the college level, and when they're coming to college, they're going, hey, I want to continue doing that. And so for us, it's kind of interesting because they really are looking for that kind of competitive spirit that they had previously, and they're really wanting to experience it. That, and in a small, liberal arts university like ourselves, it's a great outlet for a lot of students. A lot of students are just saying, hey, guess what? I'm working all day, I'm studying hard, I've got lots going on. For a lot of them, it's just a break. It's a chance for them to kind of just let it loose, a little steam, a little time to relax. So I think it kind of fits both of those sets of needs.
Okay. And what were some challenges you faced building up the program from a small group into a multi-team esports department?
I think the hardest part is really just matching students' wants and desires for gameplay with the idea of being a team-based organization with what the leagues are offering in terms of gameplay. So oftentimes I'll have a student come up to me and say, hey Steve, guess what? Man, I'm really good at game XYZ. Can we go play that one? And I'll be like, yeah, that sounds great, except the league doesn't have that game. Or the game is a solo game. And when it's a solo game, I personally feel part of the experience I've been trying to build within esports is that we are a team. And that even within, we are a team as a whole across all of esports, but then we're also teams within our own squads and our own games. And so for me, I think that having that camaraderie and that bond is an important aspect of everything we do.
Okay. And with multiple teams in games like Super Smash Bros. And Fortnite and such, how do you manage team rankings or tryouts or like a A-B team structure, you would say?
A lot of times what ends up happening is I will have students, and I've had students join us who have all different levels of skills. If I have enough students showing interest in any given title, I will go ahead and try to figure out if I have enough to have an entire squad, if I have enough for, let's say, one team, one squad within that game. If I have enough for another one, I might even start that one up as well. So let's use something like Smash Brothers as an example. I've had students who've been playing with me now for Smash Brothers for 3 years. Those students have developed a bond, they understand how each other thinks, they understand each other's strengths and weaknesses within the game itself. They also have had the experience of playing competitively. So the way each league operates is slightly different, and so even if you're brand new, and let's say you're a top tier high school player, playing at the college level is slightly different. The rules are different, the experience is different. So sometimes it takes a semester or two for a student just to kind of find their footing before they're really ready to play on a high competitive level. That said, within the leagues, if I can go ahead and have a team and a B team, I try to do it as much as I can. But we do always, I hate to say it, we do always have to have a couple extras on every team. And so it does really require, depending on the game, quite a large group of people to do it. And we're also in some ways limited by our space and our size. There's only so many computers I have access to use for competitive gaming.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you can only have so many computers in the space.
Exactly.
So can you share an example or a moment this season where the team's communication or camaraderie really made a difference?
I got to say, the team that's impressed me the most recently has got to be my Fortnite teams. Many of the students who play Fortnite for me are involved in many other activities here on campus. I have a student coach for that who also is involved in another sport on campus. But what I find is that this group in particular, they are in contact constantly. They are chatting with each other in Discord on the weekends. They are in the lab on a regular basis, just practicing. And then they still have their formal practices and their formal competitions on top of that. I think the thing that's interesting with them is that, as a game, we play in both trios and duos. So they're small squads. Yet as a group, this group is in contact and supportive of each other all the time. And I think that's kind of one of those things that's interesting when I look across esports at USF in general. We have kind of one of the most amazingly dynamic and diverse groups that I have seen in any organization here on campus. And the fact that these students somehow find through the joy of gaming and the love of gaming this bond that really kind of takes all errors out of the room. There's nobody's higher or lower. They're just, hey man, let's play a game, let's go, let's grind. And they really just love that experience. And I think with that group in particular, I've seen some just cohesion that I haven't seen at that level before. And I think that's also part of the maturing process of esports as a whole.
Cool. And the esports lounge, you talked about,
players being in the lab for multiple hours at a time outside of practices and also for formal practices as well. But the Esports Lounge offers open labs as well. How important is that space for community building and not just competition?
It varies at different points in time of the year. So as we're going ahead at the beginning of a season, I like to open up the lab a lot at the beginning of the season because a lot of students, will come to USF and they don't realize we have gaming, or they're coming here specifically for gaming, but they haven't really played on, let's say, that high, that level of high-end equipment before. So they're unsure exactly what the experience is going to be like. So usually at the beginning of a term, and every semester for us is a completely new season. Every semester is potentially new games. And so you've really got to kind of, at the beginning of the semester, have some opportunity for those students just to kind of get into the lab, get comfortable with the space, get comfortable with the equipment. As we get towards finals, and I'm sure as a student you can well aware of the stress and the anxiety that comes with final exams, I like to have the lab open a lot. Because I will say that one of the things that's kind of fun to see is I walk past the lab on a regular, consistent basis. My office is just down the hallway from it. And when I'm in there, I'll see during finals week, some students I've never seen here on campus before, and they're just going in there to game so that they can basically de-stress in some cases. Sometimes they just want to, hey, I want to just be aggressive on something for a moment. And other times they just want to have that opportunity to kind of shut their brain off for a while they're in the middle of exam week and just have a chance to, escape to the fantasy realm of whatever the game is, just as a way to kind of, cope with everything that's going on in their lives. And so for me, I think that idea of having community opportunity to be in the lab and experience it kind of serves dual purposes. One, it just helps us as a university support our students. And number two, it gives us a chance within, the competitive arena to have students really get a chance to try it before they're really ready to commit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And this year, we know that 4 out of the 8 teams are making it to the playoffs. Congratulations,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. And what would you say has been the key to that success?
Student coaches. So, I help with a couple of our teams as they need help. But really, I'm not an expert in all the different video games that are out there. And if you talk to my own children, they will tell you, Dad, you're not an expert at any video game. But the reality of it is, the students know the games best. Now, what I do is I help go ahead and make sure that we have the leagues, we have the equipment, we have the teams, we have the structure, we have the student body to go ahead and set up these organizations. But those student coaches have really grown. There's one student coach in particular who I was never quite sure how they were going to do. I just kind of said one day, hey, you're interested? Tap you on the shoulder. You're now my coach. Let's go. And over the last 3 years, this particular student has just grown, matured. They've learned how to make hard decisions. They've learned how to go ahead and support people when, hey, guess what? If you lost in a game, it's not fun, right? And when you have a student who's upset that they lost, and you got to help them deal with that emotion at that moment in time, that's a very different thing than just being the first time freshman or first year student in the game room, just playing for fun. I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing to see this kid basically grow up within the system, and it's one of those students who I'm particularly proud of.
Yeah, and that's a huge leadership opportunity as well.
Amazing,
for
yeah.
students as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and beyond that, we also have opportunities for my students beyond just that. I have students who help me with social media. So it's a great opportunity for those ones who are more of the, hey, I want to figure out how we do the PR for esports. Have other students who help me manage the equipment in the lab. So for a couple of my students who have a computer science background, they are getting real life experience maintaining high-end equipment in a very distributed network environment. And for them to be able to go ahead and someday put that down on their resume, I think is just a great opportunity.
Yeah. And for students wanting to join or give esports a try, what is the best way you would say to get involved?
The best way, if you're new to USF, I would say look at our website, go to stfrancis.edu/esports. I have a contact information available through that form, and you can reach out to me. If you're already here on campus or you're thinking about transferring to USF, Again, that website's a good spot to go to. If you're on campus, we have QR codes on all of our signage that you can go ahead and click on to get me access to your information. But really, we're a friendly bunch. I like to continue to see the program grow, and right now I think our only limits are number of games, number of machines, and the size of the space. But as we continue on, I'm excited to just offer the opportunity to as many students as I possibly can.
Well, thank you so much, Steve, for coming on this edition of the Encounter podcast. And that is all we have for this edition of the November Encounter podcast. We will see you all next semester, in the second semester, when it's the winter and the spring, for the next edition. And make sure you follow us on all our socials on YouTube and Instagram, and we will see you all next time. Bye.